Angel, what's up, man?
Carlos, Monday, best day ever, right?
I hear you on that, man. Sorry,
Hey,
sorry that I'm late to the party, dude.
hey, no, I know you probably were having fun last night. And by the way, congratulations on getting big shots, so NBA players to wear your mats, and that's why I
I
wanted to have that
appreciate that.
conversation with you because I know you know that I've been following you for a while, and I know you do some some crazy stuff with marketing. I don't want to say hustle because hustle for a lot of people is just the busy work, but you know what
Okay.
I mean. It's the you're doing
It's
a lot
being
of good
it's
stuff.
being it's being strategic.
So you say it's strategic or it's like okay, F it. I'm gonna give it a shot.
No. There's never no effort. I'm gonna just give it a shot. It's being strategic, man. I think hustling, honestly, I think hustling is effort. I'm gonna give it a shot and see what happens, or I'm gonna do a lot of busy things and see what comes out of it. I think that I'm at a point in my life and my career where, I'm a little bit older and I don't have as much runway to take uncalculated risks, right? So to speak. So, I've worked in marketing for a while now. And it's funny because I was just talking on TikTok a little while ago about what we did with sending masks to the NBA players. And we used to do this all the time at different brands where I worked at. When I led social media at Winn Dixie, we would send gift cards to bloggers or influencers. When I worked at LinkedIn, we would send them swag because we want them to talk about us. So, what we did with the NBA players, direct marketing, is not new by any means. I think that what happens is there's people in my network that they kind of know me as being a speaker or an author, and they didn't realize like, oh man, this guy actually like knows a thing or two about marketing and growing a product or growing a business from the ground up. I wrote this book, then, the marketing, and in my book, I pretty much provide this formula for people that the science, if you will, of growing a brand today starts with you, the individual, because people buy from people, people trust people, people relate to other people. And that's not new by any means. Like business has always been conducted based on likability and relatability, right? You're Hispanic, I'm Hispanic. There's a relatability factor there, right? Like I think if maybe we didn't look similar to each other, we wouldn't relate to one another. You know what I mean? Um, I think what social media does is it gives us an avenue or a vehicle to be able to broadcast louder than we normally would. What I told my business partner and my brother-in-law, Reggie, from the start was these NBA players are influencers. We don't look at them as influencers, but they are influencers and they have reach in social media. And we're going to do this. We're going to send these masks to these guys. And if even one of them wears it, mission accomplished. It's no different than doing a Facebook ad buy. We're doing this to drive awareness for our company. But I think so many people get caught up in the instant ROI, if you will, of social media, where they overlook traditional marketing. And I consider what we did to be more of a traditional marketing play. But no, to answer your question, it wasn't so much taking a risk per se. Like, yes, there was a risk in it because we could have sent these masks to, the teams that were there in Orlando and no one wear it and the masks don't get delivered. But again, we also took the time in doing our due diligence in reaching out to people that work for the NBA, finding out what the logistics process was like, actually emailing the two individuals who work for the NBA that were on site running all the fulfillment and the packaging center for the NBA. So there was definitely a lot behind the scenes that went into this. That's why I say, like, there's nothing that I do that's just kind of taking a risk and throwing something at the wall to see what sticks. Like I don't have time for that.
I love it. I don't have time for that either. But it's interesting that you shared that information because I still talk to people, business owners that have this notion that marketing takes 5 minutes, and it doesn't take 5 minutes. Good marketing doesn't take
No,
5 minutes. Not even a
no, not at
post.
all. No, the reality is that it takes a while to build a brand. Like in theory, yes, to think of a engaging tweet or Facebook post, you can do that within seconds. but it takes a while to build a brand. Like, I'll give you an example. I was just thinking about this because I just put out a tweet from our Outlaw Masks account on Twitter. We only have 89 followers over there. We get very little engagement. Twitter is not really a channel for us that I'm seeing much return on. So I've honestly been thinking of just doing away with it, because TikTok is really what's been booming for us. Like, if you look at our TikTok presence, you'd be like, wow, these guys are building a huge brand with a very loyal, diehard following. But if you look at us on Twitter, then you'd be like, oh, these guys are a joke, and they look like a startup that just rolled out of bed and decided to start selling masks. So it's like a tale of two tapes, right? And that's why I say, like, building a following, building a brand, that's what really takes time to do. And that's not even so much marketing as it is just basic business operations.
I agree 100%. Operation, time management, those are basic skills that sometimes they get lost in the tactic of let's say the marketing. Carlos, I like I mentioned, I reach out because of this project of good marketing habits, and I've been looking, and I think, in my opinion, you do have good marketing habits. When I say good marketing habits, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
I think of consistency. That's really what comes to mind is consistency. To be good at anything, it takes time. It means that you've put time into, again, building a brand in this case, practicing, trial and error. We're not talking about great though. So I kind of have this notion that anyone can be good at doing something, but there's a difference between being average, good, and great. And the goal isn't to be good; it's really to be great. And I'm working to get to that level, my man. But first, you have to be consistently good.
We all do. This is what I love, and that's something that every day I look what worked, what didn't work, and I try to be a little bit better with that. But when you say consistency, can we dive a little bit deeper? Because that's a statement that I hear a lot. But do you mean so consistency about posting, for example, every Tuesday? Consistency with your message? What consistency means to you?
Because the what you just described is more of like the tactics that go into like a well planned out marketing strategy or marketing plan. What I'm talking about consistency is, okay, you get an outcome, you get a result, and you're constantly analyzing. So you're more in analysis mode than you are just in activation mode. And I'll give you an example. We have seen a very good success with TikTok as of late. I don't know if you've seen our account on TikTok, but we've gained 9 million views in just the last month alone, which is impressive because I'll be frank with you. Like, I've been on YouTube now for 7-8 years. And I think lifetime, my account's gotten like 4 million views. So to see these numbers in a direct correlation to orders to our business, there's a science, there's a formula. So that requires, again, consistently analyzing every piece of content that we post and determining, well, what made this post either flop, fail, or what made this succeed. And it's constantly learning, right? Constantly A/B testing. That's why I say, like, it takes a while to build a brand, but it really takes consistency in going from being good at doing something to being great. Because when you're great, now it's like, boom, you're hitting on all cylinders, right? And that's very hard to get to that point, I think, for anyone. But what I've seen from the people that I admire in this industry that we're in of digital marketing is they model consistency when it comes to not just posting all the time, but they have teams that surround them. They're constantly, on the cutting edge of being innovative, trying new things. They're trendsetters, whereas the people that follow them are like very fast followers or fast adopters. But again, I think what I mean by consistency is you're constantly pushing yourself to be better, and you're learning from your ups and your downs.
Tracking.
That's, in my mind, what I look at as consistency. And I'll give you an example. Like, Yeah, we had a video last week that gained us 1.8 million views, which was great. For a few days, our phones were going off nonstop with people placing orders on our website. But what happened on day 4, right? The orders started to slow down, the views started to slow down. So then that high that as entrepreneurs were on, we kind of start coming off that cloud. And it's like, okay, well, what did we learn from this? Let's try to go back to the drawing board. Let's try to recreate the magic. Let's keep posting content. So people that now are seeing our content for the first time, now they have something new to hang on to and watch. So this whole game, if you will, of social media marketing, it's not just a one-touch approach to where, I think this, so I'm just kind of repeating the obvious. It's not just one touch where you can just do something one time, get the results that you want, and then walk away. I think a lot of people think that one viral video all of a sudden is going to result automatically into every single video is being viral. And that's just not the case.
I agree. And unfortunately, I see that often. For example, when all this craziness started in March this year, I saw people that never marketed before promoting their business. And now that the offices are back open, they forgot about marketing. They went back into hiding, and shouldn't be that way. There needs to be some type of consistency. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that 100%. And even with my business partner and I, from day one, we were both just in alignment. Like, hey, we're going to launch this business. We're going to see what happens, and then we're going to determine what our next move is. And as we started seeing, that we have a viable business, we decided like we got to go all in on this. And I think what happens with some of the folks that you just mentioned is maybe they started doing something and it didn't work. And because it didn't work, they just went right back to what they were doing before because they know that what they were doing before works. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? I'm a believer that, you don't need to necessarily reinvent the wheel. If you're getting results and doing something, keep doing that. I think there's a lot of folks that kind of maybe dabbled in some different areas to do some different things, to maybe give them something to do while they had some downtime. In our case, we started an e-commerce business. I think there was people that looked at me from the jump and was like, good luck. You're entering an arena where there's a lot of people selling what you're selling. People asking me like, how did you get into e-commerce? I've never known you to be an e-commerce guy, which I thought was kind of silly and honestly kind of stupid to say. But it happens, and we've seen results. So we're sticking with our business. Whereas, like I said, I think some other folks, maybe try to do something different and it just didn't work out.
Side note, just because it came to my mind, are you doing wholesales? Are you selling, for example, pharmacies that want to buy a bunch of them?
We've done some. Like we just had a construction company that bought 50 masks. In terms of like wholesale, like hundreds or thousands of masks, we haven't yet, because we've been scaling our business and, it's only 2 of us. So we know that opportunity is there, and we also know it's eventually going to come. It's just a matter of, prioritizing.
If you want to, this is not because this wasn't the reason for the call, but we do marketing for a pharmacy in Puerto Rico. And when all this started, they went to and bought a bunch of N95 and a bunch of the surgical masks. But having something nice, better than, because those masks are uncomfortable. I will not mind dropping that information to the owner and see what happens. Right now, that's probably the one that it will be the best fit. I don't know if the doctors that I'm helping, I have to ask. But I don't mind asking and giving you the information. You mentioned when we're talking about consistency, you mentioned a marketing plan, teams, and innovation. But I do want to ask you, before asking you about that, I want to ask you something that you did, or at least you mentioned I believe it was on Twitter, that you went to Costco or Sam's and load up the website into the computers.
It's funny because I've been doing that for years. You go to an Apple store and you're waiting at an Apple store for an hour for someone from the Genius Bar to see you. And I would go to an Apple store and just on all the computers, I would put my YouTube channel. I would just have videos of me kind of running the whole time. And that was a growth hack to get views, unique views on my channel from a different IP address that's not mine. I was under the impression that people were doing this already. I assume like this isn't really anything new. This isn't rocket science. But I put a couple posts out on social media saying like, hey, like this is what I do to promote my mask business is free marketing. And honestly, I posted it, Angel, as more of like a joke, like a haha. And I was really surprised to see how many people were like, oh man, that's genius. Oh, I'm going to try that. And I was sitting back thinking like, damn, people haven't been doing this.
It's sometimes we forget, at least I forget that, we didn't start today. We've been doing this for a long time, and we have done things that other people never thought, maybe because they didn't read the book, maybe because they didn't have a conversation with Carlos, maybe because, for whatever reason. And once they come across that information, it's like, oh, a light bulb goes off. And I thought that was genius. It's something that you don't hear people sharing often. Not because I haven't done it, but it's just because you share it and you communicate it, and that was good. I love that one. Any other one that you have done that you think it was a good growth hack like that one?
Airdrop. So I used to do this quite a bit when I was in airports or on airplanes. So you can airdrop, if you have an iPhone, you can airdrop anything that's on your phone to other people nearby. So I was doing this a lot to promote my book, Then to Marketing, last year when it came out, where I'd be either on an airplane or I would be just like at an airport around a lot of people. And I would just go to Amazon and literally just like swipe up and hit the airdrop button. And it will tell you who around you has their airdrop on. And it would be the funniest thing, man. Like literally you just airdrop anything from your phone onto someone, and all of a sudden like a bunch of people are like looking on their screen. It's like a quick little way to get someone's attention. You can do that with a photo. You can do that with a website. Photos I find like work more effective. So like any big gathering. Other kind of cool growth hack that I would do quite a bit when I was speaking at conferences was I would pull up LinkedIn. And LinkedIn allows you to almost like connect seamlessly through airdrop. So I would just go to a conference and tell people like, all right, before I get started, like let's all connect in here, because social media is all about connecting, making new friends and new relationships. So that was like a way to give like instant ROI to the people attending my session. Would be like, now you're gonna all connect, not just with me, but with everyone else that's in here. Other kind of growth hacks like that, airdrop. Yeah, I'd say those are like the easy, the easy little hacks. The other, and I write about this in my book, is just social listening, right? Like if you pay attention to what's being said about other brands, other people, other products, there's always going to be an opportunity for you to engage and insert yourself. Even something as simple as like, I'm in the mask business now. So I could go on Twitter and within seconds find someone that's looking for cool masks or stylish masks just by running a search.
Carlos, so I respect your time. How much more time do you have?
You tell me. By the way, is this for like your own research or for a book that you're writing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh,
yes, sir.
okay.
However, if you want me to plug something, if you want me to share a snippet from here, I don't have a problem with that, and give you some. I think you share a couple of things. I'm taking notes. That's why you're seeing me looking down. I'm taking notes. But yeah, initially I created a list of 34 habits. But I found that good marketing habits, just like the plan, the goals, etc. But I found myself being too technical when I'm describing them. And then I started talking with a publishing company. By the way, I do. Again, I just remember I had a question for you about that. Mm-hmm. And the conversation came down like, to describe, the one of them. And I listened to myself. And that's when the light bulb came on. I'm like, having a conversation with other people and put it in their own words, it might be better than mine. In this particular case, the storytelling is something I'm still working on. I'm still working on that and how to communicate that. Sometimes I'm too dry. Sometimes I'm straight to the point. I want to get better on that end, and that's something I'm still working on. And that's why this research came about the good marketing habits.
I would say like don't change who you are, because like trust me, I've heard both sides of it, man. Like I've heard there's people that love how I present. I've heard there's people that think I'm way too technical. I'll give you an example. Are you on TikTok, by the way?
No.
No.
And I've been seeing your posts about they change your business, and honestly, it's a personal hesitation not to add, and not because I don't like TikTok or I don't want to try a new channel. One, I haven't had the people that I've been working on, I dropped hey, do you want to try this? But nobody would jump. However, time wise, I want to add more people to my team before I start jumping into other things. The busy line, I know you hear it often, but right now I'm trying to just time management as much as possible.
Got it. So did you see like on social media anywhere the video of the Mexican guy skateboarding?
Oh yeah. And I replied to your that guy within a week he went to 1 million at the blue tick.
I made this video right here on TikTok, right? Kind of talking about 3 reasons why his video went viral. Okay. I didn't think that the video was a bad video. I literally am giving people 3 reasons why this video went viral. Now, granted, I have 15 seconds to give you 3 reasons. This video that I created on Sunday, a day ago, has 300,000 views. I am getting ripped apart like you would not believe. I am getting torn apart by people that have never seen me, have no idea who I am, because they are saying that I'm being too technical. Why don't I just let the guy live? Why don't I just congratulate him? Which, again, as a marketer, my job is to teach people about marketing, or as an author, I should say. So to a fault, I spoke a little too technical on TikTok, which is more of a non-business channel, right? So what I need to do is say, here are 3 reasons why this went viral. 1, this guy's amazing. 2, he's got a great vibe. 3, it's an average Joe, blah, 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 blah. And instead I said, 1, the music was good. 2, the visuals are eye-catching. 3, because the music is good and the visuals are eye-catching, you watch multiple times, so TikTok rewards the creator for multiple views. If I said that to you, if you said to me, Carlos, what made this video go viral? And I told you those 3 things, you'd be like, oh, great, I get it, right? Because as a marketer speaking to a marketer that just wants to understand more of like how TikTok works. But because these people on TikTok already get how TikTok works, like I can't even check the posts because it's just negativity, and I don't like to invite negativity into my space. So I just choose not to even look at the comments. But I look at the comments, at first, and I was saying, damn, like these people are getting mad because I was overly technical. So again, you learn after a while your audience, and that goes back to what I said before about consistency, right? Like my definition is it's all trial and error. Like that's the last time I'll ever post something on TikTok talking about business or marketing and be overly technical, right? From here on out, it will just be feel good content. It'll be a little bit looser. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, 100%. And that's one area that I have failed consistently in the past, not jumping into the new platforms right away. Because of that initial push that those platforms give you, whether it's TikTok or Reels or Instagram stories, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I want to correct. I want to find a way that it's more that I'm not consuming more than what I'm doing, and I'm guarding my time. My time is very valuable to me. TikTok for business, you mentioned something that, about the technicality. What would be your advice somebody that wants to jump into, like, let's say, let's say I'm going to download TikTok today. What are the first couple videos I should create as a marketing guy?
Don't create a video as a marketing guy. Like, that would be my advice to you. It seems like the community on TikTok doesn't want to hear about marketing or business. I'd say use it more of a platform to like tell us who Angel is as Angel, as the non-marketing guy. So I would think like use it as a place, man, that those little videos that you might create when you're out having a good time with friends or family, or just like things about you that embody who you are as a person. Do you have a family?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm sure that you have wife, kids?
Wife and two boys.
So I'm sure that you probably have videos on your phone, or your wife or your boys have probably recorded some videos of you having a good time. You know what I mean? It's share more content like that. It's pretty basic. It's not difficult. But I think, again, as marketers, we always try to think of, you know, how can we do X that's going to yield us a business return? And I think a lot of us marketers have lost sight of that. Really, what yields us a business return is, once again, what makes us relatable to others.
So if everything is strategic for Carlos, when you create the content and you strategically say, okay, I'm going to have a balance between family, business, in the content that I share, or not?
Yes and no. You know, after doing this for so long, I kind of know at this point, you know, what my community wants to see, what they don't want to see. You know, I guard more of my personal life by design now than what I used to years ago. So, you know, I don't know if that necessarily answers your question.
No, it does. I'm kind of similar. I don't share too many things besides, you know, a few things that I do with the family. Some of the pictures that I share when I go RVing. I never thought I was going to buy an RV, and we moved here to Florida, and I bought one last year, and it's been a blessing for the mind break and recharging. Just even if we go to Fort Myers or Sarasota, we were supposed to go to Jacksonville this weekend, and they had and they, when we call, it's all full. But then my friend goes, and it's like 3 spots. It was in Beverly Beach, empty spot next to them. But that's how those companies are. But hopefully we're going to be down there in Jacksonville soon. We love that area, and we're looking to a couple spots in front of the beach. You mentioned marketing plan, teams, and innovation. Marketing plan, I still see people without them and without updating them. What is your take on marketing plans?
You have to be really nimble with your marketing plan. You know, always keep your audience in mind, always keep the end game and the objective in mind. But, you know, you gotta be real nimble, be willing to pivot and adjust. And quite frankly, do a better job of listening to what your intended audience is speaking about.
Innovation.
What about it?
How often? I read something 2 days ago that most people leave their marketing agencies because of lack of innovation, or because they already trained their people, and that was the only intention, that they hire them to train their people, and once the company knows, then they fire them. What innovation means to you in the marketing world?
You know, I think innovation means taking again, going back to risk, taking calculated risk to try things out. I think it's going against the grain. I think, again, to a fault, us marketers, we find ourselves oftentimes speaking to other marketers and taking like the human element out of what we do. Obviously it's creating things, right? So like I like to feel now like, for a change in my life, I was actually innovative. I created something. But that's how I would just define innovation. I think like defining innovation in general, holistically, is being a leader in your space, creating something, leading, obviously paving the way. But I think at the end of the day, when you kind of put yourself in the shoes of a marketer, it doesn't necessarily need to be centered around like being first to market on a new platform, but it can be about trying things different ways and teaching others those outcomes. Like I know that's something that, has happened for me in my career. Years ago, Snapchat was new to marketers. And, I was very early on, I was an early adopter to Snapchat. And, I kind of made a following for myself by teaching others how to use Snapchat for marketing. And that's something that worked very well for me. I could have probably built a whole career just being the guy to kind of jump on the platforms and teach people. But that's kind of how I would define innovation.
And when
in
it
our
comes
space,
to,
at least.
and when it comes to teams, what is a good habit?
What's a good habit is give your team, as a leader, it's give your team autonomy and a runway to do their jobs. I don't like to be micromanaged personally. As a leader or manager of people, I don't like to micromanage people either. We're all adults. You hire people based on their skill set and expertise and what they say they can bring to the table. So you got to give people an opportunity to do their job or to work themselves out of a job.
We've been talking for a couple minutes and about different subjects. Anything else besides consistency that you can say this is a good marketing habit?
I would say be realistic. I think a lot of marketers, especially social media marketers, they make an assumption that you're gonna very quickly rise to the top, and you're in a space that. Did you read my book, by the way? And if you haven't, it's okay.
No, but I'm buying it. No, and here's going back, and here's this is not I found myself last year consuming more than what I was doing, and I stopped that. The book that I have right now that I'm reading is this one. Once I finish this one, then I'm starting the next one. I want to start and finish. I don't want to keep buying stuff just to buy that stopped last year, and it was more like just in time information instead of buying just something to learn. I want like what is that I need to know, copywriting, or I'm focusing more now on the time management aspect of things. I learned a lot in the Air Force about Lean Six Sigma, not wasting time, eliminating non-value added steps, and sometimes that those things I wasn't applying them, and I needed to apply to make sure that I'm productive. And it's not to get more things done, it's just so I can spend more time with my loved ones, doing other things. And I enjoy traveling. I enjoy doing other things.
Course.
Yeah.
So I first of all, I appreciate your honesty, because there's people that I've met that they've told me they've read the book, and then I ask them like, well, what was your favorite chapter? And they can't even tell me. But if you are an audiobook guy, the audiobook is a really fun listen, because I read, I narrates my voice. So I basically narrate the book to you. But my whole point I was trying to make is that throughout the end of marketing, I remind the audience that's reading or listening that the internet is what I refer to as this noisy digital ocean. There's a lot of noise being created. There's a lot of creators jumping on every single day. There's different demographics, different age groups. So you have to really take a step back and first assess, like, whether you're a personal brand or a corporate brand, what do you really want to be known for? So when people think of your brand, what's the first thing that you want them to think? Is it a product? Is it a service? Is it a person? Is it a mission? Is it a goal? Is it culture? Like, that's first and foremost very important. The second is, before you really go, crazy tweeting or posting or creating a marketing plan, you really need to take some time to do some due diligence on what others in your space are doing, right? If you want to be a guru, a marketing guru, what are the marketing gurus doing really well that you can maybe model, but put on your own flavor, or your own style? The point I'm trying to make here is that it takes time to build anything, right? It takes a long time to build a brand. It takes time to become great. I've been doing social media marketing since 2008, 13 years now. I started when I was 25. I'm 37. Actually, no, 12 years, almost 13. But the point I'm trying to make, man, is that we're also working in a space that's always evolving. It's constantly changing. None of us own the IP to any of these platforms. So we're really at the mercy of these platforms, which dictate our own growth and our own success. So that's why I said before, man, consistency in learning, understanding, trial and error, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, learn from both, and continuously moving forward. Like, that's the one thing I'll say about social media marketing and being successful in the space. You always got to be moving forward. You can't stay stagnant. You can't move backwards. You got to just keep moving forward. And that's what dictates your success. It's speed and efficiency.
Speed and efficiency. Those are two areas that I'm narrowing my message more and more, and I'm focusing on those two areas, being on marketing productivity / time management and good habits or good marketing habits. Trying to narrow down, or not trying to, it's just a little bit moving towards that area, instead of just talking about tactics or something on that nature. Carlos, people ask you all the time pretty much the same questions. What is one thing that you haven't had the chance to talk about?
I think eventually I'd like to get more in the space of talking about family. Maybe productivity outside of social media, maybe productivity of how to balance. Like, one of the things that I've been more dedicated since COVID happened, honestly, man, it's just finding more balance in my life, because I think this is a medium that I've invested a lot of time into building a personal brand and building business brands, not just for myself, but for clients. And I've gotten to this point now where, and this is going to sound bad, I want to start investing more time into family, into my kids. I want to spend less time on social. I want to spend less time on building up my brand, and instead spend more time helping my kids out with their needs and being a better husband, and better father. I think that's something that eventually you'll start hearing me talk more about. And we're in a good time in history, if you will. I think more people are kind of coming to that realization of, like, there's more to life than just, being verified on Twitter. There's more to life than being Insta famous on social media.
When I learned about Lean Six Sigma in the Air Force, it changed my time management for me. That's the first book that I published is called Más Tiempo, and it was back then. It opened me a lot of doors to me in Puerto Rico. I used to fly and just do time management talks, but the title is Más Tiempo. What's the subtitle now? Now you got me thinking. For you, your loved ones, and man, you got me thinking now. I can't even remember the subtitle for my own book. Here.
Más tiempo.
Más tiempo para ti, tu negocio y tus seres queridos.
Nice. Are you Puerto Rican?
Sí.
You're from Puerto Rico? Okay.
Sí. Born and raised, I joined the Air Force in 96. I did 20 years, 6 months, and 23 days. And
wow.
I retired in 2017.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
What made you get into the digital marketing space?
So when I joined in 96, I immediately didn't like the military. I wasn't the rule follower, and I developed this plan in my mind that I was going to get out with my enlistment was up. And I in 98, I started a web design company when I was stationed in Alaska. And in 2002, at the end of 2002, I got out and I went to Puerto Rico. But 6 months later, I recruited a shop when the war started, March 13th, and I got recalled back into active duty. And I went to Las Vegas, and I was blessed because when they called me back, I had a bad attitude, blah blah blah. But I was like, okay, I need to do something, and that's when I realized that back then I met a lot of people like Kevin Nations in Vegas, Armand Morin. I started going to those network events over there, those seminars, and.
Right.
And I realized that people didn't want a website; they wanted the results from the website. And I pivoted in 2003. But I was active duty. I was in active duty, so I was able to, I was helping optometrists in Las Vegas. I did a few things for Kevin Nation, going to his house and other people over there. Eventually, just like the Air Force push you for education. If not, you don't go up in rank. I pursued a degree in market and public relations and marketing, eventually an MBA. And I kept doing it, but being in the Air Force, a lot of people don't realize that you are 10, 12 hours in the Air Force. Then you have to have time for the family. Then you need to make time for your physical fitness. You need to also study. If not, it's a extra full-time job plus running a business. And that's why in 2017 was like, okay, just going 100% full time, doing what I love. I don't need the money. I do it because I love it. The retirement, just between us, the retirement paycheck pays for everything. I don't have a lot of debt. I just the house, and I don't go crazy chasing after clients these days. I spend more time with the family and kids, and I made that a priority. The last 4.5 years I spent it in England, and we travel the world over there. But family to me it's very important. It's very important. But that's the long story short. I wasn't like, okay, I'm going to start in marketing. It just one thing click after the other one, and I've been loving it since.
Nice.
I've been loving it since.
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but I think that being self-aware and being humble is a virtue. So like I did this in reverse. I think because I got married young and had kids young, I was at a point that when I tapped into social media professionally at a young age, I was still evolving and discovering myself. And, that's one of those things I haven't really spoken much about. And I think I'll probably, like I said before, start blogging or making content because I see a lot of other people that are chasing this illusion of fame. And, I can just tell you that, having followers on social media doesn't change really who you are. Right. Now at my age, almost 40, I'm taking more time to invest, like I said before, in being a better parent, better partner, husband, what have you. Because I did it in reverse, and to a fault, I regret that. Even though I live life with no regrets, one of the things that I would advise people to do differently is to set time aside that's offline. You don't need to document everything online. The reality is that photos I post on Instagram 7 years ago, no one goes back and looks at today. And I think that social media has become very destructive for the younger generation.
Did you watch the Social Dilemma documentary?
I did. I saw like 20 minutes of it, but I'll be honest with you, Angel, like a lot of what I saw in the 20 minutes that I saw it, I wrote about in my book. Like the very second page of the End of Marketing, I actually speak to or write about what is, what they share. You did see the Social Dilemma?
I did watch it with the family. I started watching it by myself, and then I'm like, I told the kids.
I basically, write in here that, the reason why we subscribe to see influencers and we spend so much time on these mediums is because for us, it's an escape from our everyday reality. It's an escape from our everyday routine. And what happens is that we get this high from being more popular and more liked and more known on these mediums than in the real world in our own lives where we don't have that popularity and, we don't get that same rush by someone, engaging with us or liking, our content.
Yeah, and the little one, my 10-year-old, I took the electronics off. I saw a shift in his mind before I even saw that documentary. My 14-year-old is more, I had a chance, you know how sometimes moms are, I'm going to put it on my wife. I'm just, I'm very strict. And my oldest one have read John Maxwell books. I even gave him some NLP books to read and time management. He's more like, okay, I know what I want. And he's very disciplined. The little one is still, maybe I don't know. After I saw the documentary, maybe I gave him electronics too soon, too quick. But one thing that caught my attention in that one is that this is the first generation that has access to this information at middle school. And maybe their brains, maybe I'm wrong, I'm not a doctor, but maybe their brains are not ready to consume that information, especially, the likes and I don't know. Maybe, but that's my little one. The 10-year-old is off electronics for now. The oldest one has them, and I know my wife goes and inspect the electronics once in a while and make sure that they're not doing anything inappropriate. Carlos, how can I add value to you?
I'll leave it up to you. I get asked that question a lot, and it's still one of those questions I really can't answer. I think if you find an opportunity to add value, that's something that you'll just do. I think that's subjective. I don't like asking people to do things, even though I constantly, as a marketer, am asking people to do things. I think in this setting, I really don't like to ask people to do anything. If you want to add value, you'll add value. I would say even just being connected is adding value, or us having this conversation. I think it's giving value to the project you're working on, but at the same time, it's value exchange because, you've been in my corner, you supported my work, you see the value in what I bring. So you're somehow going to take this information, package it up and share it with the world. So again, that's a value exchange.
Going back to your book, I do listen to audiobooks. In your opinion, based on what you said that your audiobook is a better version than the paperback.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a better version because it's the same exact content. I don't read much, to be frank with you, other than content online. So I do like audiobooks because an audiobook, like in my case, my book is like 6 hours. It's basically like a very long podcast, right? It's like listening to 6 podcast episodes, and the podcast episode's an hour long. So being that I narrate it, right? Like you're hearing some more enthusiasm and passion and whatnot. So I like the ebook, or I'm sorry, the audiobook. I know other people that have listened to the audiobook, they liked it as well. But, that would be my recommendation.
So audiobook. Carlos, I can talk about marketing all day, but I want to be respectful of your time. We've already been here for about 50 minutes. This is a project that is, I was looking like, what could I add differently? And you touched on a few things, but between family and business, and it just struck at me and said, habits. And I went online and I looked for good marketing habits. I didn't see too much of good content in that sphere, just the same rehearsed garbage. And look for the domain name. It was available, and it was like a sign. Okay, let me stick in that sign. Let me stick with these. And talking, because those are the time management and time management and habits, goes hand in hand. But time management is also been a topic that I talked for a long time. I stopped talking. I stopped doing time management talks because honestly, I just got tired of telling people the exact same thing. Like,
of course,
with your computer and do not disturb, find it. It just is the same thing. So those are the two topics
I can definitely relate to that.
Um, I don't have any more questions. If you, for you, I do appreciate your time. I'm actually, as soon as we finish this call, I'm gonna buy the audiobook,
Oh, cool.
and I'm gonna start listening to it.
Yeah,
That's.
let me know what you think. And I think you had mentioned that you're going to be writing a book, correct?
Say that again.
I said you had mentioned, I believe, on Instagram that you're either in the process of writing a book or you're going to start writing a book.
So this yes, I already have a good chunk, but conversation like yours adds value, and we can add and obviously quote you and add your information in the book. That's when, for example, you talked about consistency. I do have a list, and I can share the list with you. But I'm going to start talking more. Like this week, I have plan of sharing about bad marketing habits. I'm going to test talking not in the negative way, like what people don't want, instead of what they want to see, what traction I get with that one. Instead of talking like 10 good marketing habits, to have like 10 that you should break. And that's what I'm going to be sharing that. But I'm in the process. I'm in the process of finishing. Then this is going to be the first time I'm actually taking I want my kids to be proud of this book. And the previous one, I did everything by myself. I wanna make sure that I do it properly this time. And I've been talking with some ghostwriters and some publishing, interviewing them, good process, bad process. But this is gonna be the first time that I'm actually gonna take a time to make sure that this book is like, when my kids see it, they're happy, they're proud of that. And I want to be proud, because honestly, when I started, in 2003, I felt for the numbers game. And as I publish a book, and I'm like, oh, this is so easy. And then I start publishing a lot of crap. I have about 11 digital, which I earned a check from Amazon, but it has nothing to do with my brand. That's why I don't promote them. I have one about 46 recipes from a Puerto Rican grandmother. I did one about hangover. I got one from Hangover Cures. The recipes were the ones when I moved to Alaska. Cool. I called my grandma, and I wrote the recipes on 4x6s, and then I just transcribed it a couple of years later to a book, and a few other things like that they have nothing to do. It was more about volume than making a sale, than actually having something that I'm proud of. And I moved away completely from that mentality. And I just want to make sure that anything that I do, is not creating drama or problem, no negative people around me. My kids are proud, and I want to leave a good legacy. When they see it, Angel, that's good information.
Of course.
As far as what advice can you give me when it comes to writing a book?
What advice can I give you with regards to writing a book?
Or publishing a book. Publishing a book.
Are you self-publishing?
That was the intention, but if you have a way or an advice on how I can send a proposal, or you have any other advice with that, even the companies that I've been talking to about.
Well, I would say the key to getting your book picked. First of all, I would recommend that anyone that is looking to write a book to explore both avenues, because there's pros and cons of both. I went through a traditional publisher. I'm glad that I did. Because I'm not in the business of writing books. They are. So I wrote my book, sent them the manuscript. They did all the editing and formatting that had to be done. I think that's a part that would have just driven me up a wall. Mind you, it's something that you can figure out, but it would just, I know that would have been a roadblock that I would be like, oh man, this is too much work, forget about it. Or it would have been expensive to hire someone to do that. So, I would say the key is put together a proposal with an outline of every single chapter title, description of each chapter, along with maybe like the first chapter, and then also make sure that your proposal. So like publishers, what they really are is they become a business partner. And that publisher is going to want to see what your plan is to move units. So this is where it's like, well, I've got these speaking engagements lined up, or I work with these clients and I can probably get them to buy, 500 copies. This is what I have for an email list. Like you kind of have to do an audit, if you will, or an inventory of your own marketing channels, how you're going to market, because that's what the publisher is looking for. Oftentimes they want to guarantee that you're going to be able to sell X number of copies of books. That's really what it comes down to, because they're making an investment on their end to really acquire your book. And then, they're applying resources on their end to help you with editing, the marketing of it, distribution, et cetera. So again, it's very much a business partnership relationship with your publisher. And a lot of folks don't realize that. They just, think that there's like a novelty aspect in having, a traditional publisher work with you. So I would say really take some time to work on what that proposal looks like before you shop your book around. And then just keep in mind that, the two avenues that you can go is obviously you can self-publish, but I would recommend that you hire a really good copy editor to do all the back end work. And then it's off to the races, man, and it's selling. But, writing a book, I think, is the easiest part. If you like to write, if you don't like to write, it's difficult. But if you like to write, break it up into weekends. I took there's 12 chapters in my book. So I wrote a chapter a weekend for 12 weeks. And I locked myself in my office and it was just me and my thoughts, every weekend for 12 weeks. And I did that consistently until I was done with my manuscript. And that's what I advise people to do now is you need some time just to yourself. Gather all your thoughts. Each chapter before I would start, I would just do like an outline. So here are all the things I'm going to cover. Boom, 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 boom. And then it's like literally fill in the blanks where, you're writing pieces here and there. And then, you're kind of stitching your paragraphs or your thoughts together.
That is my next step. I do have the editor, it was something that everybody that I talked to said, get one for sure. But the next step that I need to do is organize this list on a logical order or something that has some type of flow, just like you said, chapters to get people moving from one place to another one. Because right now I just have a solid list of habits that should happen. But I need to organize that in a, and I don't know if I should organize it yet or how I'm going to organize it. Let's put it that way. If it's going to be like, for what I believe is you should start with, your mission and vision, and then the purpose and goals and objectives, the
right.
sequence, and then moving down to the daily actions or something, backwards. Like a lot of people start backwards and, with the things that you do every day just to drive a point and then understand how things work. But that's the part that I have to do next.
Right.
And I look other habit books, but there is no marketing habits book out there. So I thought it was also a good space for me. Just like the Atomic book, I read that one, the Atomic Habits, and it was a good book. It's a good book.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say was if I can be a resource to you, at any time, man, just reach out and let me know.
Thank you. It means a lot. Thank you. Carlos, sure. I am not going to take any more of your time. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
I give you my word. I'm buying that book as soon as we finish. And actually, somebody asked me yesterday on Facebook that his son wanted to start in marketing. He said, what book he should read? And I sent him a bunch of old books because I told him the new ones are just full of fluff. That was my exact answer. The ones that I've read lately, just blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to send them yours. That's
awesome.
That's how I'm going to add value today. And
appreciate that.
And I'm buying the audiobook. That audiobook definitely is something. One thing that I do in the time management is my wife drives, and then I do the thing. I do things in the passenger seat. Carlos,
I would love to do that, man. I always say the day that I make it, the goal is to have a driver. That way, I can always be knocking things out and then enjoy wherever I'm going.
It's been a habit, a long time habit that I've had. Because I realized that if I drive and we're listening to music or looking outside, but I felt that I wasn't being productive. So she drive, I drive that conversation, or I'm doing what I need to do. So, and when in the time that normally I'm not productive, and I can do a few things, or whether it's research or ask questions, or and I feel that I'm productive that way. So that's something that I don't want to change. And hopefully, thankfully, my wife is on board with that, and she doesn't like it too much, but she's on board with that, with the driving.
Nice.
I used to go to Jacksonville a lot. My mother-in-law had an apartment over there, but they just moved back to Puerto Rico because my father-in-law was in the kidney transplant list. But they're in Puerto Rico now. Any big events for you? I know that you mentioned a couple times that the speaking engagements kind of drop. Anything that came back to the light? Any back in the schedule?
Honestly, man, no. I've kind of put speaking on hold, if you will. There's a couple of engagements between now and the end of the year that I'm going to be doing. But other than that, I haven't really been putting myself out there much. I'm seeing success in e-commerce, and I'm going to keep growing that business until things at some point return back to how they used to be.
No, pivoting to and adding an additional, mass was a necessity. And, what you guys did with the prints and marketing, how comfortable, loving that, you using it's not using, but in a good way. Like, you go to Walmart and you give them the mask or the first responder, and you're always driving that message. You always find a good way to put your brand into the eyes of other people and creating that awareness. Not just like other brand that is just buy my stuff. You're putting your brand, but in a good way. And that's something that I like about your marketing. It's not a constant pitch, but it's a constant. I got him, subtle. I got him. I'm aware of it, but most people are just, hey, he's helping, but you're putting your brand. As a marketer, I see it, but it's very, very elegant. I love it.
Yeah, it's a way, and I appreciate it. It's a way to market our brand and drive awareness to our brand, more importantly, without actually marketing a product. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. I believe you're using Shopify right now, right?
Yes.
Any reason why you jump into Shopify? You used them before, or?
It was just the easiest,
Okay.
I found, at least. Yeah, they have all the, plugins, and it's just very easy.
I'm not going to keep asking questions. I can talk about marketing all day. Carlos, thank you. Definitely, I'm going to I'm going to do those things that I told you. And again, reach out, and next time I'm near Jacksonville, because I know it's 3 hours away. I'm in Brooksville. And next time I'm near Jacksonville, I shoot you a message just in case you guys want to do something. I always travel with the kids and the family. I take them everywhere.
Awesome, man. Yeah, just let me know.
Okay, Carlos, thank you for your time. Talk soon.
All right, Angel. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.